Welcome to Manifesting a Life. When my son was small, we used to take these 2-week camping trips, tent camping. And we'd just head off from Central Texas and head off in some direction or another and just see all the sites in between to a destination point and then all the sites back again from a different route. But one year we decided to go to Washington, D.C. And as we headed out, we were doing good, seeing all these different sites, went a lot of different caves. When we got to the Virginia border, I had this interesting feeling. I felt like I'm home. You know, it was just such a relaxed, like happy feeling. And that was very interesting to me. And then as we completed our stay and we started heading back out, the closer we got to the Virginia border, the more I cried, the harder I cried. My husband said that I was squirting tears out my eyes. And it was just very strange. But I had such an emotional tie, it seemed like, to the place. I guess felt like maybe I was never going to be able to come back to Virginia. You see, I was actually born in Virginia to Texas parents who moved back to Texas when I was about 3 years old. So I grew up in Texas, but I still had this close tie to Virginia. When somebody called me a little Texan, I would get mad and stamp my foot and say, no, I'm a Virginian. I really consider myself Virginian, and I still do. And I had a psychic tell me once that I'd had many lives in Virginia. So the next year, after that trip, we ended up going back through Virginia again to a wedding in Maryland. I still had that feeling of relief when we got into Virginia. But we left Virginia by going through Maryland and up to New York State to visit a friend of mine, come out that way. And I just didn't have that emotional release that I had before, that I was upset that I was leaving Virginia. Maybe because now I realized I could come back. Well, fast forward about 8 years, and my husband pulls out this map of Virginia. He said, okay, if we were to move to Virginia, where would you like to live? And I kind of closed my eyes and put my finger down, and underneath my finger was Charlottesville. So we decided to take a trip up to Charlottesville. Now, our son was going to Vermont to college at the time. You see that in another video I have. You're going to live in Vermont. So we had to go up there to pick him up for Christmas break and bring him back home. So on that trip, we decided to just kind of juggle over to Charlottesville and see what it was like. Oh, I loved the place. Even in the middle of winter, to me, it was gorgeous. And we decided, yeah, we want to move here. So with the decision made to move to Virginia, there was one major problem. Paul's mother. We had moved her into a memory care unit close to where we live, and we didn't feel like that we could really pursue moving to Virginia until she passed, because we just couldn't see uprooting her and taking her to another memory care unit somewhere else. So it was kind of, what do we do? What do we do? Well, not too long after that, one of my husband's sisters came to visit for a while, and she spent all her time with Mother at the memory care unit. She came to us one day with the idea, why don't I just take Mother to live with me? Because it was kind of upsetting to her that she was having to live in a facility like that. And Paul and I were not able to take care of her ourselves. You know, we both had jobs, and he was never home because he was traveling a lot with his job. And my hours were very erratic. And so we thought about that and decided maybe that would be a good idea. And the sister had also had experience taking care of an invalid, her husband, who had passed a couple of years before. So we agreed to that. That sounded like a good idea. Well, with Mother taken care of, we decided to take another trip to Virginia and start looking for property. So that next Christmas, we went back to Virginia and spent 3 days looking around and put a contract on a place. There were still a number of loose ends we had to tie up, though. I had a client who I'd been working with for over a year trying to get him a place to buy. And he had put a contract in on 5 different properties. And each time he was outbid, or the owner had chosen somebody else and gone with them. He was getting kind of despondent on this whole deal. And so I really wanted to get him into a place. I had him. I had 2 other pieces of property that were adjacent to each other that had been on the market for several years. And I wanted those things sold. I wanted to take care of those. There was also a rental house that we owned. It had a tenant in it, and we needed to sell that. And of course, there was our own house we had to sell. So we had all these things we had to take care of. So within 5 months, we closed on a place in Virginia. My client made his 6th offer on a property, and it was accepted. And so he ended up buying a piece of house that he could live in. Another realtor called me and said that he had a buyer for my 2 adjacent properties. The renter in our rental house came up and said that she wanted to go to grad school in Tennessee, so she would be leaving, which freed up the rental house, and we were able to sell the rental house very quickly and easily. And our own house sold. So, all these things just went right in a row. So what was going on here? Well, we put it out to the universe, what we wanted, that we wanted to move to Virginia. Then things started happening. I've heard it said that when you take the first steps toward a goal, the universe will move mountains for you. I guess our first step was to first set a goal and then actually take a deliberate step toward that goal, which was putting a contract on a house in Virginia. It's like, I had no idea when we were going to be able to move, when we were going to be able to get rid of all these properties that we had and all these other things I wanted to take care of before we could move. So that was kind of scary to me because we were taking on 2 mortgages. And it was like, But we took that step. My advice? Don't be afraid to take a step toward your dreams. And remember, go out and manifest your dreams. Press the like button if you like this story. Let me know if you've ever been able to take a step toward your dreams and all of a sudden everything just started happening like that. And until next time, bye.